Today on the Big 3 in 30, Joel Embiid goes off in an overtime win.
Sixers won yesterday in big fashion, epic fashion to say it again, against the Rockets. Hopefully keep it going.
The Bulls go into Minnesota and beat the Timberwolves.
It's not about just getting to 500 or even staying at 500. Can they get above the...
And the Blazers get a win over the Heat.
With a solid second half performance, answering every Miami Heat run.
This is the Big 3 in 30 NBA. The three biggest stories in the NBA from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The Big 3 in 30 NBA starts now. Thank you for making the Big 3 in 30 your first listen of the day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. The 76ers beat the Rockets in overtime behind Joel Embiid, whose 32-point triple-double led the way for Philly. Mark Farzetta and Keith Pompey recap the win on Locked On 76ers.
Sixers won yesterday in big fashion, epic fashion to say it again, against the Rockets. Hopefully, you can keep it going. Kelly Oubre jumps into the starting lineup, and Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. Let's see. We've covered it all so far this year, Keith. We've talked about the Big Four. We've talked about the Big Three. And now we can kind of whittle it down to the dynamic duo last night that combined for 68 points, Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. That included a game-high matching Kevin Durant, 36 points for Maxey, and a triple-double for Joel Embiid. A great win last night for the 76ers, my man.
Yeah, it was a great win for the 76ers, and it's funny, and I got to give this guy credit. It was a couple of weeks ago, now maybe a month ago, and I was on the phone with an executive, and he was saying, you know what, Keith? Joel Embiid has to get triple doubles for them to beat good teams. And I was like, And he was like, you know what? He has to be the Joker. And when we talked about it, he was like, look, you know, Joel Embiid can do that. I mean, the way that this offense is supposed to be set up, you know, Joel Embiid has to make other teammates better. And what that is by racking up assists, but he has to grab rebounds, and he has to realize that the ball is going to come back to him and he's going to get scoring opportunities. So when I look at this game and you know, what Tyrese Maxey did was phenomenal, right? It was phenomenal, but it comes to a point where we've started to get used to it, right? You know what I mean? Like, you know, he's averaging 30 points a game. So when you look at it and you say to yourself, why did the 76ers win this game? And I look at it as if Joel Embiid and the play of Kelly Oubre, right? So Joel Embiid, what did he have? He had, 32 points? He had 15 rebounds, and he had 10 assists. And he made his teammates better, right? And he passed the ball. He got the ball back. He made clutch shots. He was reminiscent of the old Joel Embiid by the way he played fluid. He played 46 minutes, you know. So to me, don't get me wrong, Tyrese Maxey scored 6 of his points in overtime. He had 2 of his steals in overtime. So I'm not taking anything away from him. He was phenomenal. But I do feel like if Joel Embiid did not have the line that he had, and if Kelly Oubre didn't have the line that he had, the 76ers would have lost that game.
Absolutely. And the Sixers having Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, again, combined for the 68 points, that's pretty great. That's great. Love seeing that. Especially with the anniversary of his 70-point game. But when you look at, you know, being recent and all that, but the thing that really jumps out to me is not only did they combine for 68 points, they combined for 20 assists in this game as well. Embiid's 10 assists. Like, it's funny. I know a lot of people, and you're right to say this looks like the old version of Joel Embiid. Yeah, when it comes to scoring, when it comes to rebounding, absolutely. But 10 assists to me is the new version of Joel Embiid. And it's similar to what the executive was talking about. That's what you need to see from him, because you got other guys that can help you on this squad now, whether or not it's Paul George having a hot shooting night from the outside, whether or not it's Tyrese Maxey just doing the thing that we expect to see from Tyrese Maxey now, or it's Kelly Oubre going 10 for 14 from the floor, or it's VJ Edgecombe, whoever. You got guys around you that can score that basketball. And not only that, but taking the stress off yourself. 10 assists more or less means that that's 10 plays where you didn't try to force something on your own, force contact. And Joel Embiid he wasn't afraid of contact earlier. You talked yesterday about the matchup between Şengün and Embiid, and Embiid was a bully. Like, he was taking lunch money from Şengün yesterday. That was wild to watch. That was a great physical battle with Joel Embiid. Well, not much of a battle. It was pretty much Embiid dominant. And then in the second half, he had 3 assists at halftime. Second half, he started to be more of that facilitator and got 7 of assists in that second half and overtime combined. So that was a newer version of Joel Embiid that I would love to see more of as this season goes on, because that is the guy, as you mentioned, as the executive you talked to mentioned, that's the guy you really need him to be, a guy that can shift into more of that facilitator, in that joker role that even Embiid has talked about in years past.
Exactly. And the good thing is, they played the ball the right way. Now, granted, they both had their game high points, 36-32. We're talking about Joel. But the one thing is, we talked about it before with Maxey, it's a fine line, and I guess it's the same with Joel, right? It's one of those things where you're going to try to make passes, but if guys aren't making shots, you're going to stop and you're going to start gunning. You're going to have to focus on yourself. And sometimes when everything isn't going right, and you're focusing on yourself because other people aren't making shots, you become easier to defend. Well, I'm telling you, man, that Kelly has been the X factor for the 76ers since he's come back. Now, look, the last game he shot 5 for 10 on threes. He was 4 for 5 yesterday, and then the game before that, he was 2 for 3 on threes. So, he's starting to knock down these shots. And when we look at Kelly Oubre, no offense to him, but I didn't look at him as a guy who was going to be stretching the defense because of making 3-pointers. And right now he's being left wide open and he's killing teams for it. So that's when, Maxey can swing the ball, he can pass the ball instead of like trying to pit up X amount of shots a game, and the same for Joel, and they're going to be successful. And then the thing is, when Kelly Oubre does stuff like that, it opens up more things for the big two, right? It does. It opens up. And look at Paul George. He hit a couple threes too, So
overtime, man, he was clutch.
Yeah, exactly. And it was one shot, man, when they swung the ball to him. And I'm saying to myself, P, for your sake in this city, you're wide open, brother. You need to bury this one, because if not, they're going to be trying to run you out of town again. You remember the one where Embiid was on the floor and he
that was
just
the second three? Yeah,
the second one, right? You like boom, and then he hit it. So it's like one of those things where you're like, bruh, you stepped up when they needed you to. It really did. So that was a good one.
Yeah, he got a couple steals as well. I think he knocked a ball loose. Good outlet, big rebound, big block. He had down. I think it was late in the fourth quarter. He came up with, or excuse me, no, it was in overtime. He had the block down the defensive end, and then I think it was an outlet to Oubre, and he got the lay-in and made it 124-120 in the overtime period. But before we go any further, we have to get to this in the opening segment. Keith, I need you to explain to me, like I'm a 5-year-old, how in the hell's bells is a goaltend in that situation not reviewable? I know it wasn't called, so they can't review it. I get it. But when it's that close, at the end of regulation, 3 seconds left, Maxey goes up. How is that not something that is either reviewed or caught by any other eyes that can challenge that play?
I'm going to be funny right here, and we'll talk about it more. Me no habla inglés. But here's the thing.
That makes no sense to me. No, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
It was a comedy of errors. I think people got caught up because it was Kevin Durant blocking it, right, pinning it against the glass. And then all of a sudden, and what I mean by the comedy of errors, it was like, or mistakes. So then all of a sudden, they try to get possession of the ball, but they don't have possession of the ball. The coach calls a timeout. And once he called timeout, it was kind of like, they're like, oh, well, what do we do? Like, first of all, he can't call a timeout because there's no possession of the ball. So I think that had a lot to do with it. I do.
That was rough. Even Maxey after the game, hey, did you see? Were you surprised? He's like, I put the ball on the backboard. Like he even recreated it wearing the VJ Max cap, which I thought was pretty cool. But he's like, I even put it on the backboard. one thing I will say, not in the defense of the referees, but I'm sitting in my den. Okay, I'm sitting in my den watching this game last night, and I see the play happen in real time, and I go, goaltend. I go, goaltend. Like and then I'm like, I'm sure the Sixers bench was going nuts too. They show the replay. I'm only looking at the Sixers bench, and nobody does anything. Nobody reacts, and I'm like, if you got an uproar over there, maybe you get the call, something. I don't know, but it was like I thought it was very interesting. It wasn't until after the fact. I don't know if Nick Nurse, after the fact, maybe he heard from maybe somebody on the bench saw the replay or something, and then he got pissed off. I don't know, but in the moment, I thought it was a goaltend, but nobody on the Sixers sideline reacted.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like from where I sit at, because like where the media seating is, it's way on the other side, so you can't really tell. But I'm just going to tell you this: you know what they do in the home arenas whenever like the call is bad.
They put it up.
They put it up. And I think and they put it up slow-mo, right? And they kept playing it over and over again. And, and I think the one thing is like, how you allow – I think initially they were upset because they're saying to themselves, how do you allow this guy to call a timeout when nobody really has the ball? They're fumbling for the ball. But, I think that part of it when it was over the when it was – when it was up on the Jumbotron, they were upset. But here's the thing: the one thing that a lot of people were talking about was that the fact that what typically happens when you're not sure, you always call a break in action on that and you review it. So the 76ers were kind of a little bit. What do you mean? You guys aren't reviewing this? Like, well, what's going on? You're not reviewing it? Like, but it was a bad. I tell you. And I know we're going to talk about it more, but the referees really escaped the bullet. I mean, because that was on this was the thing that if you go on social media, you go everywhere, this is all people were talking about. And it would have been a bad look on the league, especially after they criticized Allah for a month ago for his comments that he made.
Know the rules. Know the rules.
Yeah. And they would have been like, Allah would have been like, hey, you know the rules. Know the rules. Yeah, so.
The NFL playoffs are rolling along, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback, player, coaching. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
Welcome back to the Big 3-30 NBA. The Bulls went into Minnesota and got a win over the Timberwolves to get back to an even 500 on the year. Pat Moranzoni and Hayes go into the win on Locked On Bulls.
Back at 500, bro. Here we are yet again with Derrick Rose jersey retirement night and the Boston Celtics coming in town tomorrow on Saturday. Pat, the Bulls are at 500. The question is, and we talked about this a couple episodes ago, it's not about just getting to 500 or even staying at 500. Can they get above this? Josh Giddey even said so at the end of the game when he was doing his little court exit interview before he went to the back. And he was asked about being at 500. He was like, listen, that's cool, but can we get above it and stay above it? That's one of the questions that we all have here. How you feeling, Pat?
Listen, unfortunately, this is who you are right now. It's kind of tough, right? But like, realistically speaking, I think it's hilarious that the Chicago Bulls are now, I believe, 186 and 186 under AK. It's how he's built his teams. He's built teams that are good enough to get the 500. But what you did like last night and what we've seen continue here, and it was good to see that with Josh Giddey reinserted back into the lineup, was you had a team that continued to show the level of fight that they needed to show. And I talked about this yesterday on the solo episode I did. It almost seems like we're starting to get a little bit more out of Modest as far as being a vocal player on the court as well and kind of keeping some of these guys in line. The one question that we asked was who was going to be the guy that was going to say we have to maintain this level of play. seems like maybe Modest Buzelis is okay with taking on that role here and having Josh Giddey back on the court, pushing the ball a little bit further. So very excited to see the last night's game. I thought it was a phenomenal game. I thought the Bulls came out and did some really nice things defensively. They frustrated Anthony Edwards just about all night. And I think that's the funny part about this, dog. Like, the Bulls, I believe they still give up the 5th most points in the NBA. But it is absolutely hilarious that they have such good defensive game plans for star players. Like how they've played Giannis this season, when we've played Donovan Mitchell, when we've played Anthony Edwards, they've had really good game plans for it. And the one thing that they can't figure out this season is how to stop a power forward, because Julius Randle was going crazy last night.
Oh, bro, Julius and Nas Reed, before Nas Reed went down with his shoulder injury or whatever, like he was just taking off the dribble threes just casually, like he was Steph Curry, bro. Like Julius Randle was sitting there, mid-range step back pull-ups on us and stuff like that. By the way, did you hear because I know sometimes you don't listen with the commentary on. They talked about Julius Randle only going left. Do you know he worked with the basketball coach so that he can learn to go right for the last 2 years? Do you know he specifically went to a basketball coach that helps teach players to dribble and use their weaker hand that he spent time with? That's crazy, bro.
Hey, bro. Ringo called that out. That may have been the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life, bro. He was like, guess which way he's going? Left. Left.
Bro.
Hey, bro.
We've been making that joke for years, bro. When they said that on the broadcast, like, yeah, he worked with a specialist to learn to go right. I was like, I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Absolutely hilarious. And listen, like that's going to be an issue. And I think it is one of the reasons why we're seeing the Bulls be so aggressive. Over the past few games, just about every scoring big or 4 possible has gotten the best of them. And so that's something that they're going to probably try to address here at the deadline. I think it kind of speaks to the conversation you were having, Hayes, where you got to have more Julian Phillips out there, because that's kind of when those things get to turn a little bit more. 27 minutes for him last night.
Pat, hold on, I got to stop you. Are you ready to admit you were wrong about Julian Phillips?
I'm sorry, I said Julian Phillips. Jalen Smith is who I meant.
Yeah, you had me, Jalen Smith. Are you ready to admit you were wrong? You were so down on, and understandably, I'm not saying you were crazy for being down on him after Ice Pack Man last season, but are you ready to admit you may have been wrong on Jalen Smith?
No, because here's the thing. I was evaluating the player that he was. Good job for becoming the player you should have been. Like, that's the thing. Like, listen.
Pat, the white is strong with you, bro. You do not like to admit when you're wrong, bro.
No, I have no problems admitting when I'm wrong. But let's not pretend like Jalen Smith was balling last season.
No, and that's why I said you weren't wrong about last year, but it wasn't just about, like, your evaluation of him last year was fine. But even at the beginning of this season when he started playing better, and you're like, I don't trust Jalen.
Listen, you got to show me more than a month. I've seen enough months here in Chicago. Where's Nico Mirotic? Where's Larry Markkinen? Where's what's the other one? Where's Bobby Portis in December? Where's
Nico Mirotic in what was that? Was that
February?
January?
Wasn't it Nico in February?
I think was it? No, because it was before the trade deadline. Because remember, he messed it up.
Was it?
I thought wasn't he, because he messed up. I don't remember, but either way, no, you're
Nico
right.
It was February.
It was February. You're right, because it was after the trade down, because we couldn't move him, and he messed up our draft selection.
He messed up Luka.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I've seen a hot month from these mugs, right? We've seen so many players go off and be great. My thing is show the consistency. And
Pat, what? I have something here. Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
Has anybody seen Mark Eversley? Has anybody seen Mark Eversley? But go ahead, Pat. Keep cooking.
That was pretty good. Well done. Nobody has seen Mark Eversley. I don't even know if he exists. I don't know if you saw yesterday's episode at all. I did the full 8K trade deadline press conference where we probably won't do anything now, especially now that we're back at 500. So that's gonna be fun. Make sure to tap into that. But no, like, I love how Jalen Smith is playing. I think he's really found a groove here and he's figured some stuff out in the offense. It's just stay consistent with it. You know what I mean? I think we can say that for this entire team.
For sure. Absolutely. And like the thing is, and I said this yesterday in my post-game show, is that the Bulls don't have a superstar yet. Josh Giddey looks like he's becoming a star right before our eyes, and I love that. But when you don't have a superstar, the individual pieces and keys to the cog make even like when you're missing those, it makes even bigger impact on your team. And I think that's really what we're seeing from this team, because when we're all together or close to relatively healthy, it's a completely different team.
Well, they compete at a better level. I mean, we were for the most part pretty healthy during that stretch where we couldn't beat anybody that was a bottom feeder team in the NBA. At least our starters were healthy, I should say. But you know, you've got to find a way to bring the same energy that you brought last night every single night.
Absolutely.
If you do that, I mean, it's why, like, you look at that last Nets game, we went into that game and we were like, I don't know if these mugs going to win. And then they blow the doors off of them and you go, well, that's how it should look. Why was this such a struggle the first time? Because this team didn't get better. Like, I think you're seeing a mindset change with this team. And more than likely, and I mean, this might be a signal that, you know, if you're somebody who wants change to come or wants trades to come at this point, that it's not going to happen, because the one thing that we saw last year that I think you possibly are seeing here is guys feel comfortable. Guys are looking around and going, I'm probably not going nowhere. So might as well hoop, might as well do the best I can here, especially Nikola Vucevic.
It's the opposite of Giannis' complaints in Milwaukee. I don't know if you saw that clip where he's like, everybody's playing for themselves, and it's like, yeah, because they don't know if they're going to be traded or if you're going to ask for a trade. So they're like, let me take these shots so I can get my next contract. Whereas the Bulls is like, hey, you going anywhere? Vooch is staying. Oh, we're all good then. We're all good,
bro. Like, hey, bro, I have never watched a player give less of a rat's you know what than Giannis on the court right now, bro.
Giannis took 11 shots in that game, bro. Like, Giannis Antetokounmpo took 11 shots. But
I texted my guys the other day that gamble. I was like, hey, bro, bet the unders. Bet all Giannis unders, because they got to sit there and do it based off of stats that he should get. Bet all his unders while he's in Milwaukee.
Unless he finally gets pissed off and he's just like, forget it. I'm taking 25 shots today. Stop me. That's what would happen if I bet on it. It'd be like, then Giannis just all of a sudden is like, 25 shots tonight. Don't even worry about it.
And I don't think he's getting traded.
No, I don't think he wants to get traded. Like, it's we'll talk about that different. We'll talk about that post-trade deadline. But you know, so the Bulls get a win here. Everybody contributes. Kobe comes up with a big fourth quarter, even though, man, that turnover on that second to last drive, I was like, Kobe, man, if we lose this game because of Kobe. But, you know, he hits a big three on the next play. Trey Jones' defense was great. Modest ended up getting into double figures, most of that being in the second half. Like you said, the Bulls really just had a good team win.
The NFL playoffs are rolling along, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a Profit Boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple Profit Boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your Profit Boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback, player, coaching. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your Profit Boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
Welcome back to the Big 3 and 30 NBA. The Blazers pulled away from the Heat in the second half and took a 17-point win over Miami. Locked On Blazers host Mike Richmond goes over the victory.
A 127-110 beat down of the Miami Heat. A game where the Blazers put the Heat away in the fourth quarter with a solid second half performance, answering every Miami Heat run, and a game where the Blazers approached health. That fleeting H word that they have really not had much of this season. About a week into this thing, they started to sustain some injuries. Heck, Scoot Henderson got hurt before training camp even officially started. But this game was going to mark the first game since November 14th, since the middle of November, that the opening night starters were back in the starting lineup. Just the 8th game all season that Denny Avdia, Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday, and Rob Williams had all participated in. It was also going to mark their chance and then their eventual accomplishment of moving above 500. Winning basketball games, playing winning basketball this season. deep into the season for the first time in 4 years, that at this mark of the season that they've been an over 500 team. They just haven't been this in so long, healthy and winning and all of those things. And then Denny Avdia gets hurt 2 minutes into the third quarter, 2 minutes into the second half. And instead of celebrating this win, there is still the cloud of health, because that's what this season is about. So we'll get into everything. Fast recap in the West, recap the game, talk about Denny's injury, talk about Shaedon Sharpe, who was magnificent after halftime, after a bumpy first half, magnificent in the second half. Caleb Love, who continues just to be undeniably helpful. Let's do what we do. Fast recap in the West. Let's get into it. Blazers play the Heat. They win 127-110. Miami's without Tyler Hero and without Khalil Ware. The Blazers, like I said, playing their opening night starters. That means Drew Holiday's back in that starting lineup. Let's go. Joining Shaedon Sharpe, Tumani Camara, Denny Avdia, and Donovan Clingan. Hilariously, Thiago Splitter got mad at a call less than 3 minutes in the game and used his challenge. He won the challenge, but he was mad about it. And after I complimented in yesterday's show about how I thought it was really good, I've been really good recently using challenges, a lot smarter, less emotional. This was just like he was just mad. He challenged the call right away. Blazers scored 38 points in the first quarter, lead by 7 heading into the second. They hit 6 threes in the first quarter. This was a great shooting night, and they got it going early. They lead by 1 at halftime, but Thiago Splitter said he challenged his guys to play harder. At halftime, Blazers up 64-63. Shaedon Sharpe struggled. 1 of 8 from the floor. He got a technical foul. He got a charging call, and he just bowling balled the ball right at the ref. Immediate bowling ball, just kind of whistled, throws the ball at the ref. Not like threw it at her, but like bounced the ball hard, kind of, underhand released it right away. Here, take this. That's an auto tech. He gets the auto tech. 1 of 8 with a technical foul. Blazers made 11 3-pointers in the half. Like, the offense wasn't really the problem, but the Heat were 16 of 18 in the paint in the first half. And Thiago Splitter said at halftime, he said, like, you have to play harder. This isn't an X's and O's adjustment. This is just like the Miami's beating us to 50-50 balls. They're playing harder than we are. Can't have that happen in the second half. And the Blazers came out and responded right away. Well, not right away. 2 minutes in the second half, Denny Avdia on kind of like closing out and defending Andrew Wiggins away from the rim. Tweaks his back a little bit. I didn't see this live. I just knew that he was leaving the game, but I've since watched the replay. He kind of closes out to Wiggins and immediately grabs his back. It's clear that he's hurt right away. Splitter takes a timeout at the 10:02 mark. Gets Denny out of there. Splitter would later tell the assembled media that it was his call to get Denny out of the game. It's like, yep, nope, that doesn't look good. You're getting out of there. He pulls Denny out of the game. At that point, the Blazers are up 72-70. It's a 2-point game, 2 minutes into the second half, and the Blazers just rip off, Caleb Love checks into the game, and the Blazers rip off a 29-10 run to build a freaking 21-point lead, capped by a Shaedon Sharpe fading turnaround midi that put them up 21 points, 101-80 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. This game's over, right? Except the Heat respond to close the third. Blazers do not close the third quarter very well over the final 3 minutes. Heat rip off a 12-0 run. Blazers scored one at the end just before the end of the quarter, so 12-2 to close the quarter, but started 12-0. During that stretch, Denny obviously stayed on the bench right away for the first few minutes, and then went back into the locker room at like right around the 7-minute mark. Notably, after Caleb Love checked in, immediately drains a 3-pointer at the 9:57 mark of the third quarter. That was his 4th 3-pointer of the game. The Blazers now 7-1 when Caleb Love makes 4 threes. All of those games have come when he's played off the bench. Dude's a hooper. This one was the Heat looked like they were in trouble, down 11 and entering the fourth quarter, but they wouldn't quite go away. When Myron Gardner hit a 3-pointer with 7 minutes and 21 seconds left, it was a 7-point game. I definitely knew who Myron Gardner was. That's not a player who I just had never heard of prior to this game started, and then had to confirm that I was getting his name right now as I was looking at my notes. I definitely knew who Myron Gardner was. Don't worry. I'm a NBA podcaster. I definitely knew Myron Gardner. number 15 for the Heat, and I didn't say, who is that, multiple times during the game. But the Blazers, from a 7-point lead, Shaedon Sharpe brought them home. That's what happened in this game. Shaedon Sharpe brought them home. Sharpe hits a step back three, hits a low mid-range jumper off a steal from Rob Williams. They run the other way. Caleb Love throws him a huge lob. One of those lobs that it's like not a great pass, which is awesome. I am very much in favor of throwing Shaedon Sharpe like a pretty good pass, but not a great one. Love threw a pretty good pass, but not a great one. Sharpe caught it because he just jumped so dang high. Massive alley-oop. Crowd goes nuts. And then Shaedon Sharpe hit another three off the dribble. 13-2 run. Tumani Kamara got in on the action with a free throw somewhere in there, but Shaedon went nuts, brought him home, and all of a sudden it's 123-105 with 3:30 left in the game. Like over less than 4 minutes, Shaedon Sharpe just says, "Come on, we're getting out of here." 18-point game, ball game. Blazers cruise from there, 127-110. That's your fastest recap in the West. For a brief moment, 26 minutes or 25 minutes and 58 seconds, the Blazers looked like a crew that can ball. Some of the reason that they look like they have all this useful depth is quite frankly because the injuries have exposed some of the functionality of the deeper parts of their bench, right? I don't think Ryan Rupert was particularly good in this game, but the top 9 guys who played, like Sidi Sissoko, pretty limited on offense, but Sidi, he had a big three in the first half and missed a dunk. He missed what would have been a cool dunk, but he always brings energy and has been a positive on defense all year long. The on-off numbers suggest that he's a positive on offense, but I think that's a little bit misleading if you actually watch him play. Rob Williams came in and gave the Blazers good minutes. Thiago Splitter singled him out as an excellent defensive performance. Caleb Love has freaking 20 off the bench. A hilarious Jeremy Grant game in which he had 12 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists. You're back, baby! Welcome back to the game, JG. For a fleeting moment, the Blazers look deep and functional, and then they lose their top guy, and Shaedon Sharpe says, "Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to make all my shots. I'm going to hit a bunch of three-pointers, and we're going to win the game."
That's all for today's Big 3 in 30 NBA. If you follow football or college sports, the Big 3 in 30 has shows for the biggest news in the NFL and on campus going up every weekday just like this one. Just search the Big 3 in 30 NFL or the Big 3 in 30 college wherever you're listening or watching now. Thanks again for tuning in to the Big 3 in 30 NBA.